Hey everybody, JK Calloway here at Real JK Calloway, and we got some WWE and NXT stuff coming up this weekend. Yeah. I mean, NXT TakeOver WarGames on Saturday, as well as WWE's Survivor Series on Sunday. And it's time to do some fantasy booking and predictions for the shows. Starting off with Saturday, NXT TakeOver WarGames. Strangely, as of right now, and I'm filming on Wednesday night, but there's only 4 matches booked for the show. You'd think maybe they'd get some other things going on, maybe Bianca Belair and Mia Yim, maybe have a rematch with those two from their last NXT taping. Great match, why not have it on the pay-per-view? Why maybe some WWE UK guys come in and do some featured shows, because, you know, maybe not everyone's watching the UK show yet. Feature them on the pay-per-view, you get more buys, people start watching that show. I'm just spitballing, why not? But just the 4, so I think they're going to start off with the NXT Women's Championship match. 2 out of 3 falls, Shayna Baszler defending against Kairi Sane. Hopefully they get plenty of time to tell the story with this. 20-25 minutes, push it to 30, why not? There's only 4 matches, so push it out, you know? And I'm guessing they're going to have Shayna's running buddies jump back in, the members of the 4 Horsewomen, somehow make an appearance in this match as well. But also I think this is where they're going to introduce Io Shirai as kind of Kairi Sane's backup. I think both women are very capable at this point of stealing the show, and I think that's what they're going to do here. This is probably going to be match of the night, and it's a pretty good stacked little 4-match card, especially with the next one. But I do think Shayna Baszler is going to retain, probably through devious means. Here's hoping they get time, because both have shown they can put on a show. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good one. Up next, and only because it has the least amount of build that maybe we've ever seen in NXT. Like, they usually do a great job building every single match on takeovers, but the NXT Championship match, Tommaso Ciampa defending against Velveteen Dream, there's not much build here. I mean, the build has almost been like between the Velveteen Dream and Lars Sullivan, in a way, like fighting for that spot. So maybe Sullivan does some kind of run in this match and costs Velveteen Dream, but there's no point, because I feel like Dream, as soon as this match is over, might just jump straight to the main roster. There's nothing for him to do in NXT. I think they're putting him here against Tommaso because they've literally got nothing else for both guys. They've got stories building. Like, they're going to have stuff for Tommaso at the Royal Rumble and Mania weekend, you know, the takeovers. They've got stuff for him. They've got it lined up. It's going to be good. But right now, November, you know, it's going to be Tommaso retaining, probably clean, maybe a little cheating, but there's really no reason to put the strap on Velveteen Dream. He's one of those characters who doesn't even need to win that much. So he's over. He's just over. He's great. So bring him to the main roster. Have him be a jobber there. Have him be the next Elias. Elias was a jobber, and now he's over his crap because he's entertaining. So is Dream. He's going to do very well on Raw or SmackDown. Probably SmackDown. Up next should be the main event. Won't be, because specialty match. That'll take precedent. But Johnny Gargano versus Aleister Black, and their little grudge match they got going, with Johnny turning heel, because that's just what you do with your top babyface at this point. Just happened with Daniel Bryan on SmackDown, because who wants to sell merch? Who wants to make money? Ugh. This is a weird one because it could go either way, and both are not the best options. You really can't have Aleister Black lose right now when he's coming back from injury, and you really can't have Johnny Gargano lose. He just turned heel and is trying to establish himself as the #1 bad guy in NXT. Tommaso Ciampa is the heel champion. He's supposed to be the #1 heel, and now you turn Johnny Gargano heel. It's like, it very much feels like 1997 Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. I don't know how old you are if you're watching this, but they did the same thing. They turned Bret heel at Mania against Stone Cold, and he became the top heel. They put the strap on him. He became the big bad guy. And then they had Shawn screw over The Undertaker, and then he became the top bad guy. So all of a sudden you've got these two characters who hate each other, Brett and Sean, Johnny and Tommaso. And unless they're going to redo the Montreal Screwjob sometime soon with those two, I don't know where this is going. So I don't know who's going to win. Like, I would assume Johnny Gargano. He's the one with the big character change. Probably, maybe, Tommaso helps him? Like, they put DIY back together, but as bad guys? Although both guys are small? Like, it's just, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they have a plan. I hope they do. Because right now, I don't see where they're going. So I'm going to assume Johnny's going to win. Maybe Aleister gets called up right after that, and that's how they protect him. But I don't. And finally, because apparently TLC and Hell in a Cell and Money in the Bank, I mean, apparently we're just going to do those once a year because they're not special. Just got to get them in. Now it's WarGames. WarGames is going to be once a year in NXT. It's disappointing. Like, I'm sure it's going to be a great match because it's Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong versus Ricochet, Dunn, War Raiders. Can we call them War Machine? Like, I get that you have heavy machinery, but call them War Machine. War Raiders? War Raiders? Why not call them War Vikings? You know what I mean? That's the way you're going. Why not call them Game of Thrones cosplay? Just get it over with. But like I said, this is gonna be a good match. It sucks that they're gonna make this a once-a-year thing, like they do with so many other things. So it's gonna feel less and less interesting, less and less special every single time. But you can't discount how good the people in the match are. They're gonna make it a great match. So that'll be a lot of fun. And I don't see any particular reason to let an amalgam of good guys beat the established bad guy group. You know what I mean? The stable. So, Undisputed Era. I think they're going to win. After this, I don't see much else for Undisputed Era to do. They might just break them up. I wouldn't like that. I'd like them to go to the main roster as a group and kind of run roughshod over whatever show they're on, because that would be interesting before the breakup, the eventual breakup, because all four guys are great singles guys. You know what I mean? All four guys can hold their own singles. So I would like to see that eventually, but not yet. Undisputed Era wins. End of the show, because NXT, the good guys don't get to win. They don't fade to black at the end of the show with a happy feeling. No, they save that for WWE. You guys do that. You have the happy ending. Speaking of which, on to Survivor Series. They're going to have a kickoff match, because of course they are. And of course, it's going to be the tag team Survivor Series match. I don't even know who's all in it. Nor do I care. But SmackDown will win. Why not? On to the main show, and I think they're going to start with the women's 5-on-5. For SmackDown, it's going to be Carmella, Asuka, Naomi, Sonya Deville, and to be named, because they moved Charlotte off of the team, so I assume probably Mandy Rose. Who else are you going to put there? And for Raw, it'll be Mickie James, Tamina, Ruby Riott, Natalya, and the Breaker of Faces, Nia Jax. It was clearly a working punch. Her thumb was out. It clearly wasn't intentional. She didn't take a liberty. But eventually you have to point her and be like, dude, she's hurting a lot of people. Like, she needs to calm down. Anyway, I think this is going to go a lot like last year's women's match did, and Asuka will be the final survivor. She's the one that kind of needs it the most to reestablish herself after losing to Charlotte at Mania and then losing twice to Carmella. Carmella was a champion. Maybe even turning Asuka heel to face Becky, because Becky, like, you can try to get her booed all you want. It's just not happening. You might as well turn into the skid and maybe turn Asuka heel, because I feel like heel Asuka, that might be some magic right there. Up next will be the Cruiserweight Championship match, Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali. Admittedly, I don't watch 205 Live nearly often enough to know what's going on. I like Buddy Murphy, I like Mustafa Ali. Both guys seem to really know what they're doing and having great matches over and over. So I'm going to say Buddy Murphy retains, because why take it off the dude? Now they'll go into the tag team grudge match, Raw and SmackDown, the AOP for Raw, and the Bar with Big Show for SmackDown. This could easily be the piss break match, which is disappointing when Cesaro was involved, but it's just four big bastards just gonna slam into each other for 5 to 7 minutes, and then Big Show will probably punch one of the AOP, and then the Bar will win because Big Show, because, you know, Big Show, because, I mean, Big Show. You mean, he's the Big Show. The biggest, just most dangerous, ooh, Big Show. Heel team versus heel team. Now this one might be some wishful thinking on my part just for where the matches are going to be, but this one I think, hopefully, next up will be the 5-on-5 men's match. We've got, for SmackDown, Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, The Miz, Rey Mysterio, and Shane McMahon. Best in the world. Versus Raw's guys, we've got Bobby Lashley, Dolph Ziggler, Finn Balor, Drew McIntyre, and Braun Strowman. This one, I don't know why, but it just seems really clear that Raw's going to win, and they're going to have two survivors, and it's going to be Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre. I think with what they did with Drew McIntyre and Kurt Angle on Raw a couple of weeks ago, glorified squash match, almost try to make it uncomfortable to watch, which is ballsy. With Kurt Angle, it's ballsy. But I think they're really going to get behind Drew. And they see something in him, and it's definitely there. If you've watched him over the last couple of years, just on the Indies and NXT, he's got something. He's got star potential. So I think they're going to put the train behind him. This will be step one. Probably Braun versus Drew at the next pay-per-view, and we'll go from there. But yeah, they got a star in their hands, and I think they now realize it. So Braun and Drew will survive, Raw will win, and big things in the future for Drewbles. Now here's the part of my wishful thinking, because I think next will be Intercontinental Champion versus US Champion, and they haven't built this really well at all, but it's kind of a dream match, man. Seth Rollins for Raw, Shinsuke Nakamura for SmackDown. I know they've dropped the ball with Shinsuke. He's doing little to nothing, but man, he can still go. And with Seth, like, you know, those two are gonna spend a lot of time planning this one out. I hope they get 15 to 20 and make it a hell of a match, because they can do it. They can make a very, very memorable match, show why they're two of the best in the world. I hope they do. The ending really doesn't matter. I think it's pretty clear Dean Ambrose, sorry, if you didn't know. Dean Ambrose is going to interfere and cost Seth the match somehow. Shinsuke doesn't care, he'll take the win, because he's a heel. But, you know, everything up until then, I really hope they give him a chance to really show some shit, because they're two of the best going, and they can really, really show something. Now, before Nia Jax decided to, you know, miss the mark and punch Becky's nose into her face, I really do think they were going to make Ronda versus Becky the main event of Survivor Series. I really think that it had the best build. It was the most interesting of outcomes. Ronda probably wouldn't have lost, but it still would have been high profile enough to make that the main event of Survivor Series. But now it's just Ronda champion versus Charlotte non-champion. So it's going to be up next. It's not going to be the main event, I don't think. Especially with what else they did on SmackDown, which we'll get to, obviously. But Ronda versus Charlotte, long talked about Mania main event for this upcoming year in New York. I don't know if I buy that. Ronda and Becky now, the way they've built Becky up and the way they've interacted, Ronda and Becky, that could be main event Mania. Just build it up further and further and further, you know, you never know. But with this one, Ronda and Charlotte, no build whatsoever, obviously, which is disappointing. But Ronda wins, obviously, probably from the armbar, but I'm sure they're going to shake hands and hug at the end because sportsmanship. But, you know, hopefully it's a good match. I don't think it's going to get much time. I'm guessing less than 10, especially with the lack of build. They might just make this a giant women versus women schmoz and bring out all the women and have like Alexa, like, you know, coaching on the Raw side, and then Becky come out and cheer on the SmackDown. I don't know what they're going to do, but probably Ronda's going to win, armbar, and show of respect. Probably. And then on to the main event. Champion versus champion, Brock for Raw, and now Daniel Bryan for SmackDown. Bryan freshly turning heel, because again, who needs to sell merch? That's just a waste of time. But hopefully they give us the kind of time and effort that Brock and AJ had last year at Survivor Series. It was kind of like an unexpected, amazing match between the two because Brock clearly cared. And I have no doubt that this was Brock's suggestion. Like, he's already worked AJ. And I think they probably already blew their load last year. So I'm sure Brock was kind of like, I've already done that. Give me someone else. How about that other little guy that's supposed to be really great? So, and I have no doubt if Brock cares, and that's the sad part of this whole Brock Lesnar thing. If he cares, he puts on the best match of the night. If he doesn't care, you get what happened with him and Dean Ambrose at Mania a couple years ago. It's just a shitty 8-minute blah. So hopefully he cares. Let's assume he cares. That'll just be more positive for everybody. Clearly Brock's going to win, but another reason why they probably did this thing is to start a feud with AJ and Daniel. AJ will interrupt the match and cost Daniel the match, furthering their feud. And then Brock can go, you know, shoot things with guns on his farm until Royal Rumble comes around. But again, hopefully Brock cares, put some effort into it, because these two can kick the shit out of each other and have a hell of a fight. Have a great match, tell a great story if Brock cares. Clearly Bryan's going to care. Daniel Bryan's going to care. Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him. He's going to care. He's going to put everything he's got into it. If Brock does the same, this could be match of the year. But booking, yeah, Brock wins. AJ distraction. Bryan and AJ after that for a while. Probably all the way to Rumble. How could you not? Easy. There's my fantasy booking and predictions for both War Games and Survivor Series. Should be a really, really fun show. Pair of shows. Is of course what I meant. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think is going to happen at both shows. Any big swerves coming? Because they've already had a bunch. They already had Daniel Bryan turn heel. I think it's going to be straightforward. Hopefully throughout the night. My name is J.K. Calloway, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much for watching my video. Make sure you do hit subscribe. Should be right around here. Check out my latest video. Should be right over there. Make sure you follow me on all social media. Always real JK Calloway. And then make sure you download the Hashtag Roundup app. All the best weekly hashtag games, including Hashtag Skirmish. Give that a follow on Twitter as well. My name is JK Calloway, and we'll talk to you next time.